Presidential Task Force, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen of the press, I welcome you to this daily national briefing meant to update you on developments and actions undertaken by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. The Minister of Health and the DG, Nigeria Center for Disease Control, will update you on the operation side of our national response and give you the numbers as at today. Other ministers shall also be called upon if and when the need arises to update you on our non-pharmaceutical response. You will recall that Mr. President, in his national broadcast, announced a number of restrictions, particularly in Lagos, Ogun, and Abuja. You will also recall that the Presidential Task Force met with security chiefs to review the status of implementation as it affects compliance and enforcement. We have received situation reports from the Federal Road Safety Corps on interstate traffic across the country as of Tuesday, 31st March 2020. Indications are that there was a reasonable level of compliance with the presidential directive, which has led to great reduction of traffic on major highways. We have, however, received reports of challenges arising from the enforcement of the presidential directive by security agents generally and in states where governors have also imposed their own measures. As we continue to dialogue to remove the bottlenecks, I'm pleased to inform you that the Presidential Task Force has developed an implementation guide and protocols for the COVID-19 lockdown policy. I must emphasize that the exemptions mentioned in the document cover strictly the essential staff of those agencies. So when an agency is exempted, that exemption does not cover all the staff. It covers only strictly the essential staff as prescribed by those agencies. The document will be widely circulated to all the security agencies and will be discussed with the subnational entities for the purposes of building synergy in the fight against the virus. I, however, assure you that these guidelines and protocols will be published in the national dailies and broadcast on the news network for more awareness. In the course of this briefing, the Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps is here. If you ask questions or you have received any information with regards to the traffic situation nationwide, you will refer those questions to him and he will provide appropriate answers to those questions. While the National Coordinator of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 will provide details on the guidelines and protocols for the lockdown. I am pleased to announce to you that Mr. President has approved the release of 70,000 metric tons of grains from the National Reserve, Strategic Reserve, for distribution to the poor, the vulnerable, and those whose livelihood will be affected by the lockdown. The first tranche of about 6,000 metric tons will go to Lagos, Ogun, and the FCT, while the remaining will go to other frontline states in the fight against COVID-19. In the continuing effort to ensure very minimal disruption of upstream oil and gas exploration and operations in Nigeria, Mr. President has approved limited operations exemption for operating companies, services, and logistic companies in the Nigeria upstream sector. They will ensure regular gas supplies to fire turbines that supply domestic electricity. He has similarly authorized the exemption of essential staff of the seaports and all other activities in the seaports of Port Harcourt and by extension, the ONE terminals in Port Harcourt. I shall now yield the podium to the Honorable Minister of Health to provide his daily update. I thank you for your kind attention and for your patience. Thank you.